even if the benefits aren't great, even if something feels off, because you're afraid of losing the opportunity, afraid of being left with nothing. Even dating apps use scarcity psychology, and they're shameless about it. See who likes you, but only if you upgrade to premium. Limited matches per day unless you pay. Super likes to stand out from the crowd. Boost your profile to get ahead of the competition. They've turned human connection into a commodity with artificial scarcity built right into the system. You can't see who's interested in you unless you pay. You can't send unlimited messages unless you pay. You can't access premium features that supposedly increase your chances unless you pay. And the implication? Love is scarce. Connection is scarce. Your chances of finding someone are limited unless you give us money. Better pay up or you'll be alone. It's predatory. It's exploiting one of the most fundamental human needs, the need for love and connection, by making people feel like it's scarce and they need to compete for scraps of it. So what's the message in all of these scenarios? What's the underlying manipulation? Resources are limited. Time is running out. Competition is fierce. You need to act now or lose out. You're not special enough to take your time. You're not valuable enough to ask for what you want. You better grab what you can get while you can get it. It's the same message the narcissist sends. You're lucky I chose you. Other people want me. Better not lose me. Better not ask for too much. Better not have standards. Because if you do, I'll find someone who won't. And what does this do to people psychologically? It keeps you in a state of fear and urgency. It prevents thoughtful decision-making. It makes you feel desperate, grateful for whatever you can get, willing to accept less than you deserve because you're afraid of ending up with nothing. It prevents you from asking the most important question: do I even want this? Is this actually good for me? Or am I just afraid of missing out? When you're focused on not losing, you're not thinking about whether gaining is even desirable. You're just in survival mode, trying to grab whatever you can before it's gone. Let's zoom out even further, because this doesn't just happen in commerce. Economic systems run on scarcity too. And this is a big one. There aren't enough good jobs. There isn't enough affordable housing. There aren't enough resources to go around. You need to compete. You need to hustle. You need to fight for your piece of a shrinking pie. Work harder, work longer, accept less, or someone else will take what little there is. But here's the uncomfortable truth. In many cases, the scarcity is manufactured. There's enough food to feed everyone. We waste tons of it. There are more empty homes than homeless people. We just don't distribute housing equitably. There's enough wealth to provide for everyone's basic needs. It's just concentrated in fewer and fewer hands. The scarcity is artificial. It's created to keep people competing instead of cooperating, desperate instead of empowered, fighting over scraps instead of demanding a fair share. Think about that for a second. What would happen if people stopped competing with each other and started working together? What would happen if people realized there's enough to go around if it was distributed fairly? The whole system depends on manufactured scarcity, on keeping people afraid, on keeping people feeling like they have to fight each other for survival. Because if people stopped fighting each other, they might start looking at who actually has all the resources, who's actually benefiting from this system. And that's dangerous to power. So what's the deeper impact of all this manufactured scarcity? It keeps people in survival mode. When you're worried about losing what little you have, you're not thinking about thriving. You're not thinking about what you actually want or need. You're not setting standards or having boundaries. You're just trying not to fall through the cracks. And people in survival mode don't organize, don't resist, don't demand better. They're too busy scrambling to keep their heads above water, which serves power perfectly. People who are afraid of scarcity will accept exploitation, will accept being underpaid and overworked, will accept terrible conditions, will accept being treated as disposable because they're afraid that if they don't, someone else will take their spot and they'll have nothing. The narcissist uses scarcity to keep you feeling lucky to have them. even when they're treating you terribly. The system uses scarcity to keep you feeling lucky to have a job, a place to live, basic survival needs met, even when you're being exploited. Both prevent you from asking, should I even accept this? Do I deserve better? What if I walked away? Because when you're convinced that resources are scarce, that you're in competition, that you're lucky to have what little you have, you stop imagining alternatives. You stop believing better is possible. You accept what you're given and feel grateful for it, even when it's crumbs. And that's exactly where they want you. All right, let's pause here and take stock of what we've covered again, because there is so much we have stated. We started with gaslighting at scale. How corporations, governments, and institutions use the same reality distortion tactics that narcissists use in personal relationships, making you doubt what you know to be true, exhausting you with competing narratives, creating confusion so you stop trusting your own judgment. Then we looked at love bombing as marketing, how brands and platforms create intense emotional experiences to build dependency, how they promise identity and belonging and connection, then slowly withdraw it while keeping you hooked, how they've industrialized the narcissist's playbook to create addictive products and services. And we just finished talking about artificial scarcity, how businesses and systems create urgency and fear to prevent clear thinking, how manufactured scarcity keeps people competing instead of cooperating, desperate instead of empowered, grateful for crumbs instead of demanding fair treatment. Here's the common thread through all of this. These tactics work by manipulating emotions and preventing clear thinking. They exploit normal human needs and vulnerabilities, the need to trust authority, the need for belonging and validation, the fear of loss and missing out. And they work the same way, whether it's one person manipulating you or an entire system. The scale changes, the sophistication changes, the resources behind it change, but the core manipulation, that stays the same. Now let's talk about what this all means, how these tactics work together, why they're so effective, and what we can do with this information. So, we've looked at 3 major tactics: gaslighting, love bombing, and artificial scarcity. But here's where it gets really interesting. These tactics don't operate in isolation. They work together. They reinforce each other. And when they're all happening at once, they create a system that's incredibly difficult to escape or even see clearly. Let me show you what I mean. Imagine you're working for a company. They love bombed you during the hiring process, made you feel special, chosen, valued, told you you were joining a family, a mission-driven team, something bigger than yourself. Then once you're in, they start using scarcity tactics. The company's not doing well. There might be layoffs. You need to prove your value, work harder, work longer. Other people would kill for your position. You're lucky to be here. And when you raise concerns about being overworked or underpaid, they gaslight you. Everyone works these hours. This is standard in the industry. You're being too sensitive. Other people are happy here. Maybe this just isn't the right fit for you. See how they work together? The love bombing built your emotional investment. The scarcity keeps you afraid to leave. And the gaslighting makes you doubt whether your concerns are even valid. You're trapped, not by force, but by a web of psychological manipulation that makes leaving feel impossible and staying feel like your only option, even though staying is destroying you. That's how these tactics combine. Each one makes the others more effective. Or think about social media. They love bomb you with connection and validation. Then they create artificial scarcity around that validation, making you work harder for less. And when you feel bad about how much time you're spending on the platform, how anxious it makes you, how inadequate you feel, they gaslight you. Everyone uses social media. It's how you stay connected. You're just being too sensitive. Other people manage it fine. Maybe you just need to curate your feed better.